Act now. Start saving thousands and virtually extinguish your electric bill. ESPNSolar.com is the place to go for your roofing or solar needs. No commitments, no hidden fees. Go to ESPNSolar.com to see if you qualify.
Sports is what we do.
You're in your car, you're in your house, you're wherever you are. You're a sports fan.
97.3 ESPN.
Because if you weren't a sports fan, you wouldn't be listening.
WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a town square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. Now, live from the Matt Black Kia Studios.
What a move!
Here's Josh Hennig.
Eagles win on Sunday Night Football, and the fans are still not happy. Josh Hennig here, hanging out with you on a Monday edition of Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. What a wild day in the NFL yesterday. What a wild college football Saturday it was as well. Listen, what are the three F's of Thanksgiving? Family, food, and football. Well, you got plenty of it the last few days. And of course, you heard a lot of it here on 97.3 ESPN. We'll get into all the football deeply with Rob Maaddi coming up in less than 20 minutes from now from the Associated Press. He joins us every Monday to talk football here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. As always, we'd love to hear from you guys who are listening out there. We thank you for listening. 609-403-0973 is the text board. You also can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. It's one of those days where it's hard to gauge the fan base. And maybe you guys out there can text in and help me out, because I feel like after last night, it's giving a real vibe that it's almost like people didn't watch the same game. And, you know, maybe my thought process is being, corrupted by the fact that, you know, all I had last night was social media and people texting me to feed off of. I didn't have, you know, typically I've been going out to watch Eagle games. You know, I've been with the people, you know, at, you know, a local establishment, right? And the idea for me is, you know, if I'm out at somewhere, you know, Mike Gill was at the Ocean with the Gallery Bar Book and games. They were at Maynard's in Margate last week. Mike Gill and the Sports Bash are every Thursday at Chickens and Pete's. Billy Schweim is going to be over at yesterday's Creekside Tavern in Marmora for this Sunday's Eagles pregame show. So wherever I'm at, I feel like I get a better gauge of the fan base when I'm out. Last night, I felt so confused because I don't think some of the people out there, and maybe you guys can help explain this to me at 609-403-0973 on the text board, or your DMs in the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. I don't know if we're all on the same page, because last night I saw an Eagles offense that was unstoppable if it wasn't for the fumbles and just horrible special teams play. And I saw a defense that got back to poor assignment football. And I'm just wondering how we go from the game that I saw to people basically complaining that Jalen Hurts gets hit too much. We need to fire Jonathan Gannon. And nobody's complaining about the special teams. I don't understand how we are at a point in 2022 where we have more access to information and technology than we ever had before. And I can sit there and hit the pause button and rewind on, you know, my Xfinity remote, for goodness sake. But everybody out there is complaining about things that I'm not seeing. You know, it's great that Reed Blankenship got that interception. But at what point do we blame him for the other dumb plays that he had? Like the stupid penalty and the missed tackles. You know, we are like, oh man, here comes Aaron Rodgers. You can't stop Aaron Rodgers. Well, he's Aaron Rodgers. What do you expect? I told you guys for weeks that this could happen. You could ask anybody who listens to a single word I say. Now, I know some people, tune me out sometimes, but guess what? I've been saying for weeks that Aaron Rodgers I was concerned about because I've seen this show before. I've seen the whole veteran quarterback. Nobody thinks he's got it anymore. And he goes out there and he has a monster game. And you could argue if he didn't get injured in that game, how does that game end differently? Do the Packers potentially win that game? Is it tied going into the final 2 minutes of the fourth quarter? Look, Collingsworth and Tirico can say all they want on the broadcast. I can't believe the Packers are in this game. But guess what? They were in the game. Someone on the text board brought up a great point earlier, and I would give you credit if I remembered who it was, but somebody brought up on the text board earlier during the Sports Bash with Mike Gill that, the Eagles had multiple chances to win the Washington game, but they ended up losing it because of the turnovers. Well, I kind of had the same feeling about the Packers last night. They weren't going to go away, and it didn't matter that the Eagles were dominating them in the run game. It felt like every time Rodgers had the ball in his hand, he either had good field position or he was just making great throws, or the Packers were doing the same thing that pretty much every team in the NFL has done to the Eagles, which is basically run the ball the opposite way that they're going. And that's the other side of it. I'm not in the fire Jonathan Gannon camp, but I told you guys here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM months ago that my biggest concern coming into this year was Gannon, because I wanted to see what he did with this defense. And statistically, this is the top 10 defense in the NFL. By the numbers, this is one of the best defenses in all of football. But on the field, there are plenty of times where it looks like that Gannon doesn't have his guys in the right position. His guys don't understand their gap assignments. The players feel like they are either playing selfishly, which has been suggested by former players like Jason Avant and Trey Thomas on the Inside the Birds podcast platform. And there's another side of it where people are saying that there's a possibility that, Jordan Davis, this is the side effect of not having Jordan Davis. And I am more inclined to believe the first than the second, because I have now seen the Eagles, the previous 3 games of last night, have a gazillion missed tackles in the first half of a game, clean up at halftime, and come out and play a really good second half. I didn't see that adjustment last night. And that's what brings me back to the whole Jonathan Gannon conversation. Because I ask all of you out there, who do we blame for the Eagles' defensive issues? Because if you're blaming Gannon, then what you're saying is you're taking responsibility away from the guys on the field. If you're blaming the guys on the field, then you have to turn around and say, well, how much of that responsibility is on Gannon and the coaching staff? I've never been the guy to point the finger only at the coach. I believe that players win games and coaches get win-loss records. I think that's typically what happens more often than not. But last night, I just got to wonder, because Sirianni is trying to say, I'm the blame for some of the defensive issues because, going for on 4th down and not making it and all that stuff. But it's like, do I really blame Sirianni for guys missing tackles? I mean, I'm not going to do it, but, maybe somebody else will. And so, again, looking at the game last night, this was a game in which, in the past, the Eagles have been far and away the better team in the second half. When they beat Houston and when they beat Indianapolis, they were the better team in the second half, okay? The Cowboys game, They struggled for one quarter, the third quarter, and then they came out guns a-blazing and won the game and pulled away. Last night, the Eagles and the Packers both scored 13 points in the second half. And as they say, read into that what you will. Over on the text board at 609-403-0973. Steve from Cape May says, hey, Josh, it wouldn't have mattered if Rodgers got hurt or not because we didn't stop Jordan Love once, so you can't do any better than that. And he sends the laughing emojis. That's from Steve from Cape May. Steve, and that's where I get back to the question, is where do we put the blame for this? Because I feel like everyone is in denial when it comes to the Eagles. Now, maybe they're just putting on a good face just to tell everybody that, hey, we're all good. We got this under control. But it just feels like after Sirianni last week said, maybe the defense should have made adjustments sooner. It felt like the defense decided to do the opposite and not make adjustments at all. And that was what was weird to me. Again, maybe the Packers maybe they just have a system or a scheme that's a bad matchup for the Eagles. Styles make fights is the old conversation that gets had in the fight game, right? If you have two fighters who are different styles and techniques, that it creates interesting dynamics into a matchup. Well, maybe the Packers just have the personnel and the quarterback and the coaching and all that stuff to make it difficult for the Eagles. But I still don't understand why they didn't make adjustments. And again, when I'm watching guys run the opposite way of the call being played on the field, how on earth does me watching at home or watching at a local establishment, how do I see something and the coaches don't see it? When the average person like you or me, who doesn't make millions of dollars to coach a football team and look at tape, we can see things rewatching the game. We can see things if we sign up for one of those, NFL Plus packages where you get to see the all 22 tape, right? If we can see it and the coaches don't, then what does it say about the coaches? What does it say about the players? Over on the text board at 609-403-0973, Jeff in Ocean City says, I love the Philly fans, so it makes this place great. I'm enjoying this season one game at a time, and I have my eye on the 1 seed. Fly, Eagles, fly. Well, the problem is, Jeff in Ocean City, and I appreciate you always chiming me in. I think, Jeff, you're a rational individual. You're not this crazed person who, gets emotionally led by every little thing that comes along. And I think that's part of the conversation that we're having, and that is, how do we balance between being frustrated with the team and the things we see and enjoying the fact that this team is basically what? I mean, how many games they have left? They have the Titans, the Giants, the Bears, the Cowboys, the Saints. They have 6 games. If they win 4 of the next 6 games, they lock up the 1 seed, right? So how do we, measure it between the negatives that we see about this team and enjoying the fact that Jalen Hurts had a historic night last night and he vaulted himself right back up into that MVP conversation? Because right now, Patrick Mahomes is the leader in the clubhouse for MVP, but Jalen is right there along with Tua Tagovailoa at Miami. It's those 3, and I don't think the conversation includes anyone else unless Joe Burrow gets on a heater and just goes nuts for the last next 4 or 5 weeks of the season. Because the Bengals, if they get hot, it'll be because of Joe Burrow, and he's played extremely well the last few weeks. Josh Hennig here on Game Night, 97.3 ESPN FM and 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Seattle. More NFL talk next with Associated Press NFL writer Rob Maaddi here on 97.3 ESPN FM.
This is the radio home for Philadelphia Eagles football. The Eagles continue the 2022 season this Sunday, hosting the Tennessee Titans at the Link.
Quick pitch. It goes, and it's going to be a walk. As Derrick Henry has thrown
across the 45.
Pre-game coverage starts at noon with Merrill Reese and Mike Quick calling all the action starting at 1 p.m. This is where the Philadelphia Eagles play. 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's official Eagle station.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. Dine in for these amazing fall specials. Wednesday is crab night. 2 pounds of snow crab legs, $49.99. Or mix it up with 2 pounds of snow crab legs and 4 hard shells for $79.99. Thursdays are for the birds. Whatever the Eagles score on Sunday, you get to save on wings at Chicky and Pete's on Thursday. Plus, limited time fall specials, including bomb pork belly tacos and the garlic truffle burger. Wash it down with our pear elderflower mule or apple cider old fashioned. Chickies and Pete's.
The event of the season is here. Shop Black Friday for 60% off everything, only at your nearest Banana Republic factory store. Explore styles to give and to get this season from $24.99, only at Banana Republic Factory.
With Black Friday savings at the Home Depot, you'll find top brand kitchen appliances with innovative features that can do more, so your holidays can be more. Ovens with built-in air fryers for baking the perfect cookies. Dishwashers with smart tech to clean everything from bakeware to festive mugs, and high-capacity refrigerators to keep leftovers fresh. Final days to shop Black Friday savings and get up to 30% off, plus instantly save up to $750 on select GE kitchen packages at the Home Depot. Ends November 30th. How doers get more done. Offer valid November 2nd through November 30th. U.S. only. See store or online for details.
You wash your hands, you brush your teeth, but what about the nose? How do you clean your nose? With Navage. Navage uses powered suction to pull saline in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out the other nostril, flushing out allergens, mucus, and germs. And it's why cleaning your nose, the body's air filter, is the next evolution in daily personal hygiene. People try Navage for lots of reasons. Sinusitis, colds, allergies, snoring, things that make it hard to breathe through your nose. But over time, they find that cleaning their nose makes them feel better, a lot better. Over 3 million Navage users have written more than 100,000 reviews, averaging 4.7 stars, saying, best product I've ever used, and amazing. I love my Navage. Navage helps you breathe better, sleep deeper, and snore less. But the biggest payoff is improved health. Navage is good personal hygiene and can help you stay healthier. At Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, and online. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean nose, healthy life.
When you want experience, go for the best. Pick up the phone and call Dennisville Fence.
Hey, South Jersey homeowners. Autumn is here and fall season means fence season. Are you dreaming of a new fence or railing, but you don't want to break the bank? Our pro tip of the day, install in the fall for big savings. As your exclusive Active Yards dealer, you can choose from our inventory of privacy, decorative, security, and pull fence solutions by Active Yards. No matter what your needs are, we have a high-quality, maintenance-free Active Yard solution that is right for you. Don't miss our install in the fall savings coupled with our no-money-down, interest-free financing, so together we can make your dream a reality. So give us a call today or go online to DennisvilleFence.com to request a free estimate, and be sure to mention that you want to install in the fall.
Go with experience, go for the best. Pick up the phone and call Dennisville Fence. 1-800-499-FENCE. Visit DennisvilleFence.com.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be signs that your digestive system isn't working at its best? But taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil supports your daily digestive health using a special plant-based fiber called psyllium. Psyllium works by forming a gel in your digestive system to trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Metamucil's gelling action also helps to promote heart health and slows down sugar absorption to promote healthy blood sugar levels. Start feeling lighter and more energetic by taking Metamucil every day.
Okay, can I have everybody's attention for just a second?
Morgan's media planning firm just landed a multi-million-dollar client.
Because we won the pitch.
She needs to staff up before trafficking hits a traffic jam.
So we're going to need research, planning, buying, obviously, and probably data analytics.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
It only happens once a year. JCPenney's cyber deals are back in store and at jcp.com. Through Wednesday, fill your cart with deals like Yes Please Diamonds and Gemstones, now $19.99 each. Or use your coupon inside the JCP app to save up to 50% on small appliances and cookware from top brands like Keurig, Cuisinart, Calphalon, and more. We got your holiday. JCPenney. Offers good on select items through 11/30. Exclusions apply. Jewelry excluded from coupons. See store or jcp.com for details.
At Progressive, we know there's nothing like the feeling of riding a motorcycle with your crew on the open road. It's a primal, wild freedom, a feeling that would be impossible to recreate on the radio. Until now. Hit it, sound effects guy. No. We really lost our stride at the end there. Get 24/7 roadside assistance with Progressive, America's #1 motorcycle insurer. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Roadside assistance subject to policy terms and limits and may require comprehensive coverage.
For an acquaintance or someone dear, holiday scratch-offs from the New Jersey Lottery are here. Gifters, be on the lookout for sleigh bells and peppermint payout. Snow Me the Money and Winter Wishes are gifts that give the chance to win riches. Happy holidays, Jersey.
You're listening to Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Let's get more into the NFL weekend. Eagles get the win on Sunday Football, but it was a crazy day in the NFL. How many people thought that? Did you guys see that stat yesterday that apparently the Jags have never won a game when they're losing by 10 points or more in the fourth quarter? And yesterday was the first time that happened. That's the kind of NFL season it's been. And we'll get to that now with Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press, our lead NFL writer. He joins us every Monday here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM, 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. Rob, welcome back. How you doing today?
What's up, Josh? How are you, man?
I'm doing pretty good. And I want to start with this with you because, I woke up this morning like the Eagles won. It was an exciting game. It was interesting. And then I had to listen to half the day of people, being conflicted. And I'm almost like, did I watch the same game as people did? So Rob is someone who, is not sitting in the chair that I am. They're sitting in a different environment. You're not an Eagles beat writer anymore. You're not covering the Eagles every second of your day. What was your perspective on last night's Eagles win?
Dominant offensive line performance last night, Josh. When you run for 363 yards, I think it was like 15th, 16th best rushing performance in NFL history. That's just an incredible, dominant offensive line. Jalen Hurts is maybe unstoppable when he runs the football. With Jeff Stoutland, the blocking schemes, the run design, the play design, all of that is conducive to this team being so good on the ground that Jalen doesn't have to do much in the air. If you want to look at some areas of concern, you look at, the defense, they had some issues. They gave up 30 points, 33 points. Jordan Love came in and looked like Aaron Rodgers back in his prime. So there's some things that you can be concerned about from a defensive standpoint. They gave up some yards running the ball, and now you got Derrick Henry coming to town. But these are all, I think, for the Eagles and for their long-term success, having these kind of challenges right now, it's good for them. It's good to prepare them for some tougher tests as they come along and for the playoff run. So, yeah, you'd like to win every game 50-0. That didn't happen. They scored a lot of points. The defense has some flaws, but you're 10-1. This is a 10-1 football team that clearly looks like the best in the NFC and is right there with Kansas City. Record-wise, they're better for the best in the NFL. And they're setting themselves up for that #1 seed, which is going to be crucial.
The 49ers did win 13-0 yesterday, so we'll get, but we'll get to that. It's just, I'm conflicted, Rob, because on one hand, I don't want to be the guy who says, blame the coach stinks, all that stuff. But I just feel like after Sirianni last week said, hey, maybe our defense should have made some adjustments sooner. And, that sticks in my mind because I've seen now multiple games this year, the Eagles defense give up running yards in the first half, make adjustments in the second half. So I know that this coaching staff is capable, these players are capable of making the change, but then they don't last night. And it felt like that every time the Packers got the ball, it felt like every time they were going to score and the Eagles had to run the ball to keep the ball away from the Packers because between their special teams being basically non-existent in terms of stopping returns and the fact that Aaron Rodgers turned back the clock until he got his ribs banged up. It felt like that game could have been the Packers if Rodgers played down the stretch.
Yeah, and it may have been a different story if he doesn't turn the ball over 2 times too. Those two turnovers obviously cost Green Bay, and I thought that was a game where the Eagles were. I don't want to say set up for getting upset, but it kind of looked to me like it would not have surprised me if they would have lost that game, if they would have got upset in that game. And they found a way to win. Special teams, yeah, that's a great point you make, Josh, because they got to do. And I know Sirianni today talked a little bit about, hey, everything's on the table. Maybe it is some starting defensive players that have to be put on. We've seen that in years past. Malcolm Jenkins used to play special teams at times, right? So that can help. But this is a team right now where things are going so well for them that you got to like really nitpick to find, all right, here's an area where they got to make some adjustments. They got to improve. They got to do this. They got to do that. Overall, you're talking about a 363 rushing yard, 500 offensive yards, 40 points against Green Bay. And yeah, I know it wasn't the prettiest on the defensive side, but man, I got to come out of that going, all right, this team is they're looking, and there's another fumble, right, from A.J. Brown. So there's things to clean up for sure. There are things that they have to focus on in practice, things that they want to do better, and that's part of improving over the course of the season. But to be where they're at right now and be able to say, all right, we still you got to fix this, improve here, clean that up, and oh, by the way, they're 10-1.
Absolutely. Rob, I heard Ryan Clark say this morning that he trusts Jalen Hurts more than any quarterback in the NFC. I've heard Dan Orlovsky on ESPN say that he thinks that Jalen Hurts is the best decision maker of all the quarterbacks in the NFC. These are former players who are putting Hurts on a very high tier. What is Jalen Hurts right now? Because if he is the most trustworthy guy, if he is the best decision maker, then this has got to be a bona fide Super Bowl contender, but some people don't see it that way.
He's making great decisions. He doesn't turn the ball over. He's playing smart football. I know ESPN's a hot take world where you got to say so-and-so is the best every single day. I kind of still feel like there's a guy who wears the number 12 in Tampa Bay who's only turned the ball over 2 times this year, who's the greatest of all time, and he still is playing quality football even though the team around him stinks and the coach is scared. I would trust him a little bit more in making big decisions, but Jalen's doing a great job, and he's making smart decisions. He's making the right decision, and when it's a RPO, whether to run, whether to pass, whether to hand, whatever he's doing is working. And I thought for a period in that game, especially early on when he was on pace, like Josh, he was on pace for 400 something rushing yards after the first quarter. I thought he'd at least set the quarterback record. Like I wanted him to break Colin Kaepernick's 181 because every time you hear it, they don't even mention that. They mention the regular season record, which is now Justin Fields. But right. Colin did it in playoffs against Green Bay in 2012, and I think it kind of counts, when you run for 181. So I was like, all right, let's get this, let's get it over with. Jalen, go for 200, and then it's slowed down there a little bit. But yeah, he's making smart decisions. He's playing great football, and all of those intangibles we've talked about, we've raved about, they're showing up. They're showing up now, and it's a great spot to be for the Eagles. And Jalen Hurts, for him personally, my man is going to get paid, Josh. He's going to get a lot of money, and it's going to be an incredible deal because he hasn't left any doubt. I don't feel at this point he's left any doubt that no matter how, it would take a huge letdown over the course of the next, what do you got? 6 games remaining and in the playoffs for him to make the Eagles reconsider having to give him that big time contract.
Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press joining us here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN at Rob Maaddi on Twitter. Don't forget about the AP Pro Football podcast each week. And of course, Faith on the Field heard Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. here on 97.3 ESPN. Rob, I mentioned the 49ers earlier. I mean, that was a dominant defensive performance that they had. I understand it's the Saints. I understand it's Andy Dalton. But you got to look at the 49ers, and I don't understand anyone who thinks that the Vikings or the Cowboys are more of a threat than the Eagles in the NFC than the 49ers. Am I wrong?
You still got injuries. Elijah Mitchell got hurt, and he's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks. Christian McCaffrey's dinged up. So, and then Jimmy Garoppolo is not of the Dak Prescott. He's not in Dak's class of quarterback play, though he's a winner. He finds ways to win. He makes the plays. He's the ultimate game manager, as much as I hate that term. That defense is terrific. They're excellent. They're ferocious. And Cowboys got a good defense too. I don't know, Josh. I think the two of those teams, Dallas, San Fran, could be a tough test for the Eagles. We saw what Minnesota is here on the road. I wouldn't be as concerned with them unless it's in Minnesota. But the way it's playing out right now, if you look at it and you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with Dallas being the 5, having to play Tampa as the 4, Dallas certainly can win that game, even though they lost at home to the Buccaneers. And then if chalk holds 2 and 3 win, it's Eagles-Cowboys in that second round in the Eagles' first playoff game. That's not going to be an easy test. That is certainly not going to be an easy test for the Eagles. So they got to win. They got to win the division. I think they're set up nicely to win the division. I'd be a little bit concerned with the Cowboys. I'd be a little bit concerned with the 49ers. And the Vikings, I think, are only they would only scare me if you were playing them in Minnesota. So I said it a couple of weeks ago, and it's crazy that you're like in week 9, week 10, week 11, week 12. You're already thinking to February. It'd be a disappointment. At this point, wouldn't anybody in Philadelphia be absolutely crushed if the Eagles didn't make the Super Bowl? Like, it's a monumental disappointment when you see the team off to a 10-1 start, playing the way they are. And yeah, it's a tough division, man. And there's going to be some tough games coming up down the stretch in December. Giants might get into playoffs because the Eagles won't need that last game.
Rob, earlier you mentioned Tom Brady down there in Tampa. Another loss, this time in overtime for the Bucs, who are now 5-6. I mean, they still technically lead the division and they can still win it. It's not beyond, but man, I mean, this team has a lot of guys from that team that won that Super Bowl, right? There's a lot of guys on that roster, and it feels like between the offensive line injuries and, I mean, Todd Bowles, I have no idea what that guy's doing. I don't know if he's scared. I don't know if he's just, too conservative. But, man, Brady looks like he is not having fun one bit.
Josh, I was blown away watching Todd Bowles with Tom Brady and the ball in his hands and an opportunity to win that football game, not call timeouts. Like, you have Tom Brady on your team, and then you don't call a timeout, and then Brady throws a 26-yard pass to Julio Jones to get to the Browns' 48-yard line, I believe it was, and there's only 8 seconds left when it should have been 25 or 26, but Todd Bowles didn't call a timeout. That was coaching scared. And then to make matters worse, he didn't address it after the game. For whatever reason, he wasn't asked about that particular sequence of plays at the end of regulation. Then today he was asked, well, why didn't you call a timeout on that final drive in regulation where you could have had a chance to kick a game-winning field goal if you actually used your 3 timeouts? And he said, well, we could have thrown a pick too. So Todd Bowles was afraid that Tom Brady, who has thrown 2 interceptions this entire season, the greatest quarterback of all time, Todd Bowles, played it safe, played it scared because he was afraid Brady would throw an interception. That's all you need to know about the way this guy coaches. The Buccaneers would not be 9-2 right now because of all the injuries, the way they played if Bruce Arians was still here, but they probably have 7 wins. They may have 8 wins. They'd certainly be better than 5-6. Todd Bowles showed what he can do in New York as a head coach with the Jets. He had a winning season and 3 terrible, dismal ones. He's a defensive coordinator. Bruce Arians left him the job because he wanted him to inherit a Super Bowl winning type team, and he's taken that caliber team and turned them into a losing football team. And I don't know how he survives this other than this. He was the handpicked successor by Bruce Arians.
A couple more I want to hit on with you before I let you go, Rob. It was 12-10. The Ravens were leading heading into the fourth quarter, and the two teams combined for 33 points in the fourth. And that might have been the best game I've ever seen Trevor Lawrence play, NFL or college. I mean, Rob, he was making throws that you're looking at, you're like, that's the guy I heard about. That's the, pedigree that we heard about for so long, right? This can't miss prospect. It looks like Doug Peterson finally unlocked that Trevor Lawrence key.
Yeah, and it doesn't surprise me because we've seen Doug do this before. He did it with Carson from year 1 to year 2 back in 2017. And it was just, I thought it was just a matter of working in with the quarterback, with Trevor Lawrence over the course of the season. It was an incredibly efficient, effective, dynamic game. What was he? 29 of 36, 37, 300 plus yards, 3 touchdowns. And then if there's a coach who's going to go for it for a 2-point conversion there in that spot at the end, it's Doug Peterson. And I thought it was ironic how Doug Peterson trusts his guys. Brandon Staley trusted his guys to go for 2. And then, as we just talked about, Todd Bowles didn't trust Tom Brady. That's losing coaching. And then on the other side, that's winning coaching. That was a great win for the Jags. And I think that's the kind of win that can really convince these guys to, if they haven't already bought into Doug Peterson, fully buy, and I think they already have, but fully buy into him and catapult them. They're not going to make the playoffs this year, but this is a win that can carry over for the second half and into next season. And I think Trevor Lawrence, we're just only now seeing Doug Peterson unleash his potential.
Ravens are 7-4. Bengals are 7-4. Dolphins are 8-3. Bills are 8-3. Rob, who wins those divisions?
I'm still sticking with the Bills. I think Miami's got a tough matchup, certainly this weekend against San Francisco. They're going to be on the road. Cincinnati's got a tough matchup against Kansas City. They beat Tennessee in a rematch of a playoff game. Now they're facing KC. They still got to come to Tampa, even though the Buccaneers are dominant. That's still going to be a difficult game. I'll still stick with the Ravens and the Bills to win those divisions. But I've kind of moved from Buffalo, who I thought would get the home field and come out of the AFC. To me, that's Kansas City. Right now, they have the home field. Right now, they're playing better than anybody. And it's going to take Buffalo a little bit of work to figure out how they can surpass the Chiefs at this point.
Which is a more disastrous situation right now? Is it the Arizona Cardinals or the Denver Broncos, and why?
Man, 2 teams who gave quarterbacks a ton of money.
Of money.
Yep. In Denver's case, Josh, they also traded assets too. And I still believe that Russell Wilson, with maybe the right coach, can go back to maybe not necessarily who he was in his prime, but still be a winning quarterback. I never believed in Kyler Murray. I thought that contract was ridiculous. I never thought that Kyler Murray was a guy who is a playoff winning type quarterback. His size bothered me, the way his maturity, the character issues as a leader, not as a bad guy, but from a maturity leadership standpoint. And then they were kind of forced into giving him that contract. And he's always had rough second halves and down the stretch. And I think that both teams are headed for probably a coaching change. But I don't know what Arizona can do as far as the quarterback situation. And the same thing with Denver. At least in Denver, it can be salvaged if you bring in the right head coach. I don't know who can get the most out of Kyler Murray. I think he is what he is.
My solution is that Arizona hires Deuce Staley and Denver hires Frank Reich. I think that's the answer, because Deuce will change the culture in Arizona, and Frank's a former quarterback, and he can whisper sweet nothings into Russ's ear.
I think Frank could do a great job in Denver. I agree with you there. I'd love to see Deuce get an opportunity wherever it is. I don't know why it's taken this long for Deuce. And I think, we may have talked about this before. I thought that the Eagles would have been an ideal spot for him. So that's something that Jeffrey Lurie didn't see. Deuce left. He's in Detroit. By the way, the Lions are playing good football too. I know they lost to Buffalo. Man, they took them down to the wire. So that can only, hey, when even though you're not a playoff team, people still look at a coach and assistant coach on teams like that who finish up strong and have that kind of resiliency. And I think that does speak a little bit for a guy like Deuce.
Rob, before I let you go, is there any poll you can have? Because what I really want to see, because next Sunday night is Cowboys and Colts. I want Nick Foles on Sunday Night Football against the Cowboys. I don't know how we can make it happen, but Rob, we need that storyline.
I just want to see Nick play, period, man. Some way, somehow, right? I would love to see Foles get another opportunity. It's like the perfect thing for him is to bring him off the bench. He's the greatest relief pitcher in NFL history.
Right.
Let's go. Turn it over to Nick. That would certainly make the game a whole lot more interesting to watch. Colts got to get through the Pittsburgh Steelers tonight in what's a bad Monday Night Football matchup, which I think you could have anticipated on the Steelers' end, but nobody did from the Colts' perspective.
I mean, I don't want to see Matt Ryan and Sam Ellinger get hurt, but it's just like, poor Nick Foles, he's just standing on the sideline with the earpiece in his ear, like, hey guys, I'm still here. It's like he's like the forgotten man in Indianapolis.
Super Bowl MVP, not getting any opportunities, doesn't really get a fair shake, always gets a bad rap, but you always have the statue, you'll always have Philly, and you always have one of the greatest teammates of all time in Nick Foles. Nobody says a bad word about Nick.
I mean, how many teams have a former NFL MVP, a former Super Bowl MVP, both on the same team? I mean, and the Colts are just a dumpster fire. It's just the strangest thing in the world.
And Nick was a Pro Bowl MVP. Not that matters, but hey.
That too, yeah.
Something else on his mantle. Hey, you know what Jim Irsay did today? I saw at one point he had like 4 prime tickets to the game, the Monday Night Football game, and he just offered them to a random fan on Twitter if they can answer a trivia question. So good for him.
Follow Rob Maaddi on Twitter at Rob Maaddi. Covers the NFL for the Associated Press. Download, like, subscribe to the AP Pro Football Podcast. And don't forget, Faith on the Field every Saturday at 9 a.m. The Encore Sunday mornings here on 97.3 ESPN. Rob, always appreciate you jumping on in the conversation.
Josh, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Have a great week.
And, of course, Game Night being brought to you by my friends over at Jenkins. Trust Jenkins Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, because when we need to make the call at 97.3 ESPN, that's who we called. No need to call the drain guy, the heater guy, the plumbing guy. Jenkins Technicians are trained to do it all. Give them a call at 609-641-6262 and find out why 97.3 called Jenkins to make our studio comfortable. For new heating and air installation, service and maintenance, ductless air conditioning systems, water heaters, boilers, oil service, plumbing, and drain cleaning services. That's 609-641-6262 online at jenkinsandsons.com. Coming up next, more of your texts. Dan in EHT, Anthony in Atlantic City, your messages and more with me, Josh Hennig, here on 97.3 ESPN.
It's Sixers basketball tonight on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the 76ers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
And Thibault rips it away. Thibault on a drive into the lane. Edwards is there, and Thibault puts it in.
The Sixers host the Atlanta Hawks. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Philadelphia 76ers basketball on your radio home of the Sixers in South Jersey.
Oh, yeah!
97.3 ESPN.
Are you feeling it's a little overdone? Maybe it bogs down like it's overstuffed? Or possibly the appearance will keep your friends and family.
Wait, we're talking about my car, right?
Don't get dragged down this holiday season. Is your current vehicle roasted or overdone? Get to Matt Blatt Nissan, and AJ the Trade Man will fix you up. Then put zero down. Make zero payments till February, and pay just 2.19% APR financing on every new 2023 Nissan Altima or Rogue in stock for 36 months. Plus, used cars are still still at an all-time high. Your trade is worth more than you think. And as always, drive away with peace of mind with Matt Blatt Nissan's 4-day love it or leave it return policy.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
Reserve your Nissan today from our huge selection. Negative equity will be refinanced into new vehicle. Interest accrues from date of sale. Not all will qualify. Offers can't be combined. Call 877-289-6670 or go to mattblattnissan.com for complete details. Offer ends 12/4/2022. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
This view was worth a hike.
Right? And it's a good way to stay on top of my health.
Yes, I'm Cologuard, a prescription colon cancer screening option for people 45 plus at average risk. Have you screened for colon cancer?
Not yet.
Don't wait. It's more treatable when caught in early stages.
Tell me more.
Cologuard is non-invasive and it's used at home. It detects altered DNA in your stool to find 92% of colon cancers.
92%?
Yep, even those in early stages.
This was seen in a clinical study with patients 50 and older. Any positive result should be followed by a diagnostic colonoscopy. False positive and negative results may occur. Cologuard is not a replacement for colonoscopy in high-risk patients. Do not use if you have had adenomas, have inflammatory bowel disease and certain hereditary syndromes, or a personal or family history of colon cancer.
Most insured patients pay $0. Ask your provider or an online prescriber if Cologuard is right for you, or visit Cologuard.com.
I'm in.
With Black Friday savings at the Home Depot, you can get top brand laundry sets with the latest tech to tackle any mess you might face this holiday, like automatic fabric and load size detection for spills of any size, from cookies and milk on your favorite holiday sweater to the toddler of the house discovering just how fun cranberry sauce can be. Make more magic this holiday season. Let your new appliances handle the mess. Final days to shop Black Friday savings and get up to 30% off, plus instantly save up to $750 on select LG laundry sets at the Home Depot. Ends November 30th. How doers get more done. Offer valid November 2nd through 30th. U.S. only. See store or online for details.
Do you love a good cigar almost as much as your family? Well, maybe that's an exaggeration, but you can find that perfect cigar at Smokers Haven. With 5 New Jersey locations, Smokers Haven has the finest selection of cigars in the area, like Ashton, My Father's, Romeo and Julieta, Monte Cristo, and more. All from the finest tobacco leaves and hand-rolled by the world's finest cigar makers. All locations are fully open. Stop in and let them help you find the perfect cigar to pair with your life. See all they have and their locations at smokershavennj.com.
Missed Black Friday? Dell's Cyber Monday event starts now with deals on powerful tech to power every passion. The savings start now with up to $500 off on select sleek XPS laptops and Alienware PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Don't forget, special pricing on the latest monitors, docks, and accessories, plus free shipping on everything and monthly payment options with Dell Preferred Account. Just call 877-ASK-DELL for Cyber Monday deals. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
You wash your hands, you brush your teeth, but what about the nose? How do you clean your nose? With Navage. Navage uses powered suction to pull saline in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out the other nostril, flushing out allergens, mucus, and germs. And it's why cleaning your nose, the body's air filter, is the next evolution in daily personal hygiene. People try Navage for lots of reasons. Sinusitis, colds, allergies, snoring, things that make it hard to breathe through your nose. But over time, they find that cleaning their nose makes them feel better, a lot better. Over 3 million Navage users have written more than 100,000 reviews, averaging 4.7 stars, saying, best product I've ever used, and amazing, I love my Navage. Navage helps you breathe better, sleep deeper, and snore less, but the biggest payoff is improved health. Navage is good personal hygiene and can help you stay healthier. At Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, and online. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E, clean nose, healthy life.
With approved GMF financing, exclude Corvette. See dealer for details.
When we say nobody beats Bennett, we mean it. Because while most dealers are charging thousands over sticker, Bennett is selling most new models at GM supplier employee pricing. Yes! During Black Friday, you pay what our supplier employees pay, not a penny more. While other dealers are still charging way over sticker, Bennett is still saving you thousands with GM supplier employee pricing during our Black Friday event. You'll save even more with rates as low as 2.99%. Yes, 2.99%. Looking for pre-owned? Bennett's got them. And we're paying an unbelievable $9,000 minimum for the worst clunkers on the planet towards any pre-owned in stock. No joke. That's a guaranteed $9,000 for total junk. Just imagine how much we'll pay for a good trade. Bennett Chevrolet, where our sales team is paid not on how much you spend, but how satisfied you are. Imagine that. It's true. And that's why we say there's no beating Bennett. Find new roads at Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com. GameNight.com.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
As promised, I'm going to get to some of your guys' messages. Of course, you can always text in at 609-403-0973. DMs are open via the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Sixers basketball coming up in about 10 minutes from now. Tom may get us on the call, and he'll be calling the return of Joel Embiid. Yes, Joel Embiid is back after a 4-game absence tonight. So listen to the action with Joel Embiid back on the court for the 76ers right here on 97.3 ESPN. There's speculation that Harden could return soon. I think the earliest he can return is maybe Christmas is the last thing I heard. So, but the good news is Joel Embiid is back. And you hear it right here on 97.3 ESPN coming up in about 10 minutes from now will be the Sixers tip-off. Time to get us on the call. Over on the text board, 609-403-0973. Dan EHT chimes in and says, I don't understand this Cowboys versus Eagles question mark. The only X factor was the Cowboys had the better quarterback for years. I'm not so sure that's true anymore. Hurts is actually better this year because he's playing like an MVP. Well, a couple things. One, the Cowboys-Eagles question mark always, to me, I can't speak for anybody else. I know there's some people in the national media who are full of hyperbole, or as Rob Maaddi called it, hot takes. But for me, the Cowboys always had talent on their roster. And the talent you always looked at and said, if they had a better coach, or if they had a better offensive line or defensive secondary, or there was always that what if, you thought they could be a contender. And that's why for years they've always been a thorn in the Eagles' side, because Jerry Jones is historically willing to spend money to have the talent that he has on his team. The question mark this year to me, it's you're right. It's not quarterback, because Jalen Hurts is playing better than Dak. Now, part of that's because Dak got injured. All right. The other part of it is the Cowboys' offensive line is so much of a downgrade compared to the Eagles. Eagles are arguably the best offensive line in all of football. And they are so superior to the Cowboys on that front. And that's the only reason why the Cowboys couldn't wreak havoc in that first game, was because the Eagles have a good enough offensive line to slow down the Cowboys' pass rush of Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence, all those guys. So to me, I would say that if the question mark isn't the quarterback. I know the quarterback is brought up a lot because, ESPN, Fox Sports, CBS Sports, they all run to the quarterback first. To me, it's in the trenches. If the Cowboys can find a way to negate what the Eagles do best with their offensive line, I think that the Eagles are in trouble. I think it's as simple as that. By the way, for those who didn't see, the Eagles-Cowboys game on Thanksgiving was the most watched NFL regular season game since 1990. 42 million viewers, which the way it counts is it's like a per household thing, so it's only like one household per, viewer is usually how it's broken down. But 42 million watched Giants Cowboys. The last highest number was actually Giants 49ers in 1990. So, just putting that little information out there for you on a Monday. Before we get out of here, Anthony Atlantic City says, I'm not sure what I'm listening to. Did the Eagles lose yesterday? Do they still have the best record in the league? So now they aren't winning games, running away and suffering some adversity is a problem, but yet they are still winning. Listen, Anthony, it's not that they lost yesterday. But as I said earlier in the show, it's the idea that I was excited after the win last night. I was ready to go. And no offense to anybody in particular, but, between all the different shows here on the radio, between all the different shows on TV, by the time 6 o'clock came around, I felt like I had to address things that I wasn't planning on. It's like, what's the saying? You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. It's like Jalen Hurts MVP candidate, historic night. Eagles offense does great, and it's This team allowed 33 points to the Packers. Guess what? Eagles beat the Packers. Cowboys lost to the Packers. How about that?
Health update with Robin Stoloff.
All right, Josh Hennig here. The YouTube only viewers, thank you for watching. Hit the like button, subscribe, share it with your friends. Before I get out of here, the 42 million number was a jab on my part. And I felt that, it's about time that I kind of dig a little deeper into that. I remember very clearly years ago when the Kaepernick stuff happened, and I call it stuff for, to keep this channel as PG as possible. The people were starting to say, I'll never watch football again. Football's going to die. No one's going to care about football. When the NBA players knelt in the bubble, because of George Floyd, I'll never watch sports again. I hate sports. All these things. There was a perception created by people who have obviously ulterior motives and are easily led sheep, easily led to the slaughter, that basically, sports is a lesser entity than people like me, speak about. Now, yes, part of my job is talk sports. And I understand that sports are the only thing in the world. 42 million, households, we'll call it, were watching the Giants-Cowboys game, but, there was $180 million spent over 4 days going to watch the Black Panther movie recently. Okay, so, if we do the math of what an average movie ticket is, you realize that we live in a country where 14 million people watched the new Black Panther movie, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, over a 2-day period, but 42 million households were watching a game on Thanksgiving when you're supposed to be spending time with your family. Right? It's the idea that you have a movie like new Tom Cruise movie, which is the highest grossing movie of the year. Well, in total, 50 million people watched that movie. Individual tickets sold. 50 million is roughly the number that's been put out by, the people who gather this information. My point of bringing this up is that I have had to hear a lot of false narratives put out there for years. We're not going to watch football because of Kaepernick. I hate LeBron, so I won't watch the NBA. Baseball is boring and stupid, so I don't watch it. Hockey, I won't watch it because there's no more fighting in it anymore. During the COVID lockdown, it was, hey, sports will never come back because this virus is the end of us all, right? I've had to hear all these narratives for years, but yet there's one thing that people bid billions, not millions, billions of dollars on every year for TV rights and distribution rights. And it's sports. And I put it out there because I think it's important to remind everyone that it's not that sports is more important than anything else, but it is numbers wise, the number one escapism. It's the number one outlet for people in the United States and in most countries. Why is the World Cup in Qatar? Why is Fox covering the World Cup like it's no tomorrow? Because they're getting more viewers for that World Cup than everyone who watches an entire day of Fox Sports television combined. That's why they spend the money, because there's money involved. And for a lot of these people, they look at sports as the cash cow that allows them to do the other stuff that they want to do. It's like Netflix with Dave Chappelle. Netflix wants to put out a lot of lousy programming, but they know that their bread and butter is made with stuff like Dave Chappelle. Because it's not that Dave Chappelle is the best, it's that Dave Chappelle gets the most eyeballs. And that's what sports are. It gets the most eyeballs. And that's why it's $1 billion industry. That's why it's not going away. And that's why I have this job at, there we go, nice ESPN. I turned the wrong way. Anyway, thank you for listening to my little rant there at the end of the show. Hit the like button, subscribe, share with your friends. Appreciate everybody tuning in and watching the show tonight. 97.3 ESPN FM on your radio, 97.3 ESPN mobile app on your phone, and right here on my YouTube channel. I'm Josh Hennig, signing off. Have a great, everybody.